Carly from Thomas and Friends? No, thank you. I much prefer Cranky, to be honest. Obviously, I think nearly everybody in the fandom does at this point, even Carly fans. I never really cared for this character when season 21 came out, and honestly, when I think of my problems with season 21, which there aren't many of, I really do like season 21 of Thomas and Friends. Carly is one of the biggest examples of my issues because she kind of means a heck of a lot of the problems I have with Bubba. Even if I was a kid and stuff like that, I probably wouldn't care very much for Carly, to be honest. So who exactly is Carly? Carly is a tall, yellow, much more modern crane that was set up on Brendam Docks and introduced, I believe, in the New Crane on the Dock episode, and was alluded to multiple times, I believe, in or maybe I'm getting it backwards. I think it was Cranky at the end of the line, and then she reappeared in the episode afterwards. I kind of forgot at this point. It's been a while since I've seen those episodes because I dislike Carly enough to the point where if I were to create new episodes for the show, what would I make non-canon anymore? Obviously, nearly everything from the Miller era, aside from the specials. Maybe a few Brenner era episodes. All of Boba, all of the reboot, though. At this point, I'm pretty sure it's been confirmed that it's not part of the series. And thank God! Thank the Lord for that. If Mattel was actually trying to say that this fits into the actual canon of the show and all, that'd be on a whole new level of stupid. But I think they're just saying that just to keep people calm at this point, which is surprisingly out of character of them, to I'm being honest. The fact that this is still replacing the actual show or whatever and is not, it still sucks and it's still stupid and it still spits on the Reverend W. Audrey. But anyways, that's a story for another time, of course. And of course, like I said, some episodes of the Brenner era because, and of course a good majority of the Hit era episodes, I'd say as well, perhaps, or at least a good chunk of them. But some of the Brenner era episodes I would cut out would include a few episodes from season 21, and those are A Shed for Edward, obviously, it's mostly just due to that ending and that bouncing scene, and Hasty Hannah, which sucks. Hannah is such a nuisance. Please tear her apart. And the fact that, did she even appear afterwards? If she was scrapped, yay! That's what you deserve, you little yellow piece of garbage. And yeah, also the Carly episodes, unfortunately enough. There's some aspects that I do like about them. I do like Cranky getting some development and everything like that, but Carly is the thing I have a problem with. And it's not like you could just say that, like, oh, they had her and then they scrapped her so we can keep it as canon or anything like that, because I'm about to get into my other problems. But I will keep the idea that Big Mickey is an actual alive crane and stuff like that. That's the one thing I definitely would keep. But other than that, stuff with Carly and all, no. Because you can still retcon and keep Big Mickey as an actual alive character. But Carly, no thank you, you're out of here. Though she's definitely not as awful and bad as other Bwubba or pre-Bwubba characters and stuff like that. By that I mean the Logging Locos, God my ears, that's right! And of course, Nia and Rebecca or any of the other international engines that not a single person gives a crap or I can even remember the name of. But yeah, why do I dislike Carly? Well, first of all, she makes Cranky feel less special. In the episodes, it was showcased that Cranky is getting old now because he's been on the docks for quite a long time, and him being a crane on the dock side where there's baking sun and wind and rain, and the heat beaming down on him, gulls and the sea salt. Heck, this was actually episode in the missing breakdown train where the breakdown trains are showcased at the harbor and they're starting to be covered in bird poop. Finally, a poop joke that actually kind of works. And also, they're starting to get all grindy and everything from the sea salt air. Well, Cranky's starting to get that now, and I like that. But it's been alluded to that there may be a new crane added to the dock or whatever, and Cranky gets worried that he may get replaced. That's good development, and I like that and all. But it's her herself when she gets introduced. I like the whole Chuck thing. I don't get it. Cranky should have a name like, or no, he should have a line where he says, "My name is not Chuck." Obvious reference is obvious. But the problem with Carly is that, like I said, and Cranky kind of gets this too. He understands, I'd say. It makes Cranky feel so much less special because now you just have this dull greenish gray brown colored crane that's just stuck in place. And I've always liked Cranky as a kid. I always felt like he was so cool because he was so tall and massive, and the description of him saying that he could be transported to other places fascinated me. Because this tall, huge thing being transported to, like, I don't know, on a boat or whatever, always sounded so weird, to be honest. And since the fact that he only, like, stays in, like, one place or whatever, and he can only, like, tilt his cab area and rotate his arm up and down and his hook, obviously, and that's all the articulation he could do with him. I'm perfectly fine with that, but when you introduce a character there's so much more going on, it just makes Cranky feel like a hollow shell and has nothing really going on with him, and that sucks, obviously. And Carly, it's mostly because of how much more complicated her arm is, and how Cranky's hook is just a hook, while Carly's is that unique thingamabob as well, and stuff like that, which is, I don't really care about that, that's fine, or whatever. But her being able to move back and forth and stuff like that is kind of an issue because it makes Cranky just feel so less sophisticated and almost unnecessary, to be honest, when you have a crane like that. Also, it causes the docks to feel so much more packed and overcrowded with her space or whatever. She's able to tangle in with all the other, like, cranes and everything like that, possibly bang Cranky's arm with hers or whatever. I may be wrong, but remember when she gets them tangled up and stuff like that somehow? Yeah, I don't like that. And she moves around so much and twirls around and everything in the Boba episodes a ton, and she only moved around super fast, only like a few instances in season 21. And of course, I'm surprised she didn't already fall into the sea earlier in that awful Steam Team to the Rescue special. Honestly, Cranky, I would have just let her go if I were you. But yeah, her presence is not really something that nice, and not to mention the yellow. I'm fine with the yellow character as long as it's not Rebecca. But she does not fit into the docks at all. The whole gray and green and slight dark blues because of the ocean aesthetic with some occasional reds with salty and other engines and trucks going by and stuff like that. Having this huge, tall, bright yellow thing with like no like strong detailing with like dirt or texture or anything to make her feel more fit in. And I know she's new and everything, but still, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. I didn't like it then and I still don't like it now. It doesn't fit in. It doesn't feel right. And there's other instances of this happening. I feel like that's the case with Nia and Rebecca, or just all of Boba episodes as well in general. Everything is so overly contrasty and bright, and the tone of all the color scheme is just awful, and it hurt my eyes, and it wasn't until someone else brought it up that I finally figured out the problem. And yeah, I'd say Carly looks a lot worse than Boba, and her moving around and her fitting in with the docs just does not work for me, and she doesn't have enough interesting personality for this to be made up for and all, because that's just kind of small nitpicking, but what else really is there to Carly? I don't really recall much. She's nice, she's kind and hardworking or whatever, and she likes to make friends. I haven't seen that character 10 billion times. I'm sorry for sounding so harsh, but still, it does feel kind of off and insidious. I don't know, it just feels wrong. Having such a bland character and taking up such a unique role that Cranky always had to me as a kid. It just feels wrong. I know she's not replaced or anything like that, unlike someone, but still, it just doesn't feel right, you know? And of course, I'd be doing you all a disservice if I didn't mention that one scene. In Boba the movie, she essentially ends up coming across Thomas or whatever, and Thomas asks her to load him onto the ship in order to get off of the island and stuff like that. Little sneaky prick or whatever who never gets punished. You're just as bad as Peppa, you know, Thomas, and that special. You really do deserve punishment. You should have been scrapped for all that. And God knows how Sir Topham Hatt made it back to the island anyways. God, Boba in the movie sucks. But anyways, I've already gone on enough about that in the past. Carly, when she's confronting Sir Topham Hatt and he's trying to get answers from her, yeah, she doesn't explain it very well, and then, well, actually she does, but then Sir Topham Hatt decides to make the admittedly stupid decision to head off of the island all alone without telling anybody or anything like that. Not even warning his wife or Mr. Percival or anything like that. All the jobs that need to be done with him and stuff like that. Nope, let's go find Thomas. You could just send out the rescue team or whatever. Maybe try to find a way to, like, contact the port in order to have Thomas sent back or whatever. Like the Unlucky Tug said, the movie is exceedingly dumb. But none of that is as dumb as Carly going ahead, grabbing Sir Topham Hatt with her hook, lifting him off the ground, putting him over the water, and then lowering him onto the ship. Are you freaking kidding me? I don't like to say that kind of stuff because it sounds like that creepy, weird Sonic fan. Are you freaking freaks? Rawr, rawr. But what the hell, Carly? You could have just killed Sir Topham Hatt by doing that. And it always baffled me, how the heck does she even do that and all? Does she, like, grab Sir Topham Hatt's, like, area around, like, the sort of neck section of, like, his coat or whatever, by, like, the bottom of it, and he's, like, holding it up as, like, a bully grabbing a little kid sort of thing, and almost like the sort of, like, wedgie thing, kind of? I don't get it. It's confusing, and how the heck did his stuff like that tear or whatever? And I'm not saying that's, like, a fat joke with Sir Topham Hatt, though. they do make a lot of jokes with their Tom hat, and after a while, I don't like it. But like, probably would have ripped for anybody or no, or at least he would have slidden out of his coat or something like that. How did he not drop his hat? Or the wind or whatever, he would have been angry or pissed or whatever. If this was like the real Sir Topham Hatt we know of, like even Brenner era one, which Brenner era Sir Topham is a lot more strict than he is in the Wubba era, I must say, I think. Yeah, it just doesn't seem, it seems foolish for him to not get angry at Carly. And Carly literally just gets off with a, "Sorry, sir." No, 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 no. You should be scrapped for that. And yes, I am indeed quoting a few times James A. Williams' Bwubba video. It's long, it's like an hour long, but you should definitely go check out that video if you haven't. I'm still considering making a salute on James A. Williams. I haven't watched many of his videos, but the videos about like Bwubba and stuff like that and a few other things, I do enjoy. I need to like see how he's doing currently. I haven't seen videos that are new from him in a long time. But I have other channels I like that are Thomas-based that I want to make salutes on already, so that should be saved for another time. But yeah, Carly did that and nearly killed Sir Topham Hatt doing so, and the unrealism and characters not being punished for their actions, which you know how much of a problem I have with that, considering my loathing for Peppa Pig, and her sticking out of place and making Cranky feel less useful, and her, oh, and not to mention the fact that Carly's model, I'm pretty certain, is really darn modern, and it doesn't fit the 1950s and 60s setting of Thomas and Friends. Not like that matters very much anymore, considering Bwubba, and especially with the reboot, where not even location matters anymore, let alone the time, considering Kana and other characters are going to completely betray time, and the very modern look of like the houses being transported in that script behind-the-scenes thing and all, and that American-style water tower and tons of other stuff, the railroad crossing, etc. God, Mattel, can you at least keep this reboot at least somewhat British, for God's sake? Are you specifically trying to spit and dance all over River and W. Audrey's grave? Okay, I think I've said basically everything I have to about Carly. I really don't care for her, but also, have you guys noticed how so many female characters that are introduced in Thomas, especially in more recent years, are yellow? Seriously, during the hit era, we had Flora and Molly. Molly actually liked Flora, I can kind of forget about, whatever, it's fine. And then we got Hannah, die, please. I think she did, thank God. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Carly, of course. Darcy, and, what, no. Darcy, and of course, you know her, you loathe her, Rebecca. How many times has this happened and all? Also, Molly and Rebecca are so gosh darn similar. Tendered tank engines that are yellow, female, new to Sodor, and maybe aren't welcomed very much when they arrive, and want to be loved and are just simply nice and kind, and eventually they get forgotten about. Considering that we don't see anything of Rebecca in the reboot. Like, seriously, you could have just replaced Rebecca with Molly anyways. Further proof that this is just replacing a character that was already not utilized properly. Well, no, Rebecca's replacing Henry, so Henry was obviously utilized a lot. Not too much in the Brenner era, but I'm getting off track. Carly, I don't like her. She could have been executed at least somewhat nicer, even though I'd have aesthetic and other problems with her. But still, there's not much else to her, and because of a few certain things, I can safely say I really do not like Carly. Trust me, there are a lot of Thomas characters I loathe, but Carly's not one of them. I just want to get my points of her out of the way. Also, I believe this is Rant 69. So yeah, you want to know who likes Carly? Some people I respect the opinion of, but a lot of people I don't really hear a lot from, so I think that's basically it. If you are a Carly fan, don't take any of this too far to heart. Tell me why you like Carly, though. I'd be curious to know. Maybe there's something I'm forgetting about or missing with Carly. But as for the people who don't like her, me, Tug, even though he said that he likes those episodes and stuff like that, which is fine, I get why, even though he explained he doesn't care for Carly very much. Good job, mate. And also, I forgot his name, Soda Life, something like that. He just recently made a video about Season 21, how it's not as well received as it should be, and I agree with that. And also, people like James A. Williams and other people give their thoughts on Carly and their problems with her. As well as, I'm pretty sure Alex and Batty and a few other people who comment on my videos would agree. I think a lot of other fandom members feel the same, so yeah. And I just now noticed that Carly's coming back in the show. I just kind of forgot about that with the reboot. And now she's an engine for some reason, and she has a baby, and oh god. Yeah, I think I'm done with this. Rant over. Carly's kind of stupid in my opinion. See you guys later.